Have you ever felt a deep, unsettling paradox? The yearning for love, yet a persistent pattern of unsatisfying relationships? A sense that something vital is missing? A profound loneliness even amidst crowds? You're not alone. Many find themselves trapped in a cycle of seeking love externally, only to discover emptiness. This isn't a failure. It's a call to a deeper understanding of yourself. Carl Jung, the visionary psychologist, offers profound insight into this predicament, illuminating the hidden pathways to authentic love. We'll delve into Jungian concepts, the shadow, the persona, individuation, to uncover the truth about genuine connection and how to finally break free from the cycle of unfulfilling relationships. Prepare for a transformative journey into the depths of your psyche, because the love you seek begins within. The truth about authentic love, as Jung would reveal, is deeply rooted in self-acceptance. It's not about finding the perfect partner. It's about integrating the entirety of your being, including those parts you've diligently tried to hide or silence. Most of us learn to love from a place of deficiency, seeking in others what we believe is lacking within ourselves. This is love born from need, from a gaping hole in our self-perception, and it inevitably leads to disappointment. Jung would call this a projection, a shadow play where we see in our partners both our idealized desires and our most despised aspects. We're drawn to people who reflect our own unresolved wounds, our unintegrated shadow self, creating a chaotic dance of mirroring and misinterpretation. This shadow, as Jung describes it, is the hidden, often rejected part of our psyche. It's the repository of our repressed emotions, instincts, and experiences, the parts we deem unacceptable, shameful, or too painful to acknowledge. In relationships, this shadow manifests in various ways. We might project our anger, insecurity, or longing for acceptance onto our partner, blaming them for our own internal struggles. Or, we might be drawn to partners who unconsciously trigger our shadow aspects, leading to repetitive patterns of conflict or dissatisfaction. Understanding this shadow self is the key to unlocking authentic love. It's not about eradicating the shadow. It's about integrating it, acknowledging its existence, and accepting its power. The shadow isn't inherently evil. It holds both our darkness and, surprisingly, our untapped potential, our hidden strengths, and creative energies. This process of integration is crucial in Jungian psychology. It's a conscious effort to confront the hidden aspects of our personality, integrating the shadow into the conscious ego. It requires courage, introspection, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves. It's a process of becoming whole, of embracing the totality of our being, both light and dark. Only then can we approach relationships from a place of wholeness, offering authentic love instead of seeking it as a salve for our inner wounds. This is not a quick fix. It's a profound journey of self-discovery. It involves confronting painful memories, challenging limiting beliefs, and learning to take responsibility for our relational patterns. It's about moving from reactive responses to conscious choices, from blaming others to owning our own emotional landscape. The journey begins with the brave decision to stop running from ourselves, to truly look within and embrace the entirety of our being. The path to authentic love is paved with self-awareness, self-compassion, and the courageous act of integrating our shadow self. Within Dahaman, this journey of self-integration is rarely linear. It's a winding path, filled with setbacks and breakthroughs, moments of profound insight, and periods of frustrating stagnation. We might find ourselves repeatedly falling into old patterns, projecting onto new partners, or even sabotaging relationships that hold the potential for genuine connection. This isn't a sign of failure. It's simply a testament to the depth and complexity of the shadow self. Think of it as peeling back layers of an onion. Each layer reveals a new level of understanding, but the process itself can be tearful and sometimes overwhelming. For example, someone who constantly seeks validation from others might unconsciously choose partners who are emotionally unavailable or even dismissive. This pattern reflects a deep-seated insecurity, a fear of rejection, stemming perhaps from childhood experiences of neglect or criticism. By repeatedly attracting partners who mirror this fear, they are unknowingly reenacting past traumas, creating a cycle of pain and disappointment. The key is to recognize this pattern, to understand the underlying insecurity, and to begin the work of healing that wound. This might involve therapy, journaling, meditation, or any other practice that helps them connect with their inner self and cultivate self-compassion. Another common manifestation of the shadow self in relationships is the tendency to project our anger or frustration onto our partners. We might blame them for our stress at work, our financial anxieties, or even our own personal shortcomings. This is a form of emotional deflection, a way of avoiding taking responsibility for our own feelings and experiences. Instead of confronting our own anger, we displace it onto our partner, creating resentment and conflict. The antidote to this is self-awareness, learning to identify our own emotional triggers, to understand the root causes of our anger, and to express it in healthy and constructive ways. This requires practice, patience, and a willingness to engage in difficult conversations. The process of integrating the shadow also involves confronting our idealized images of love and relationships. We often enter relationships with unrealistic expectations, projecting onto our partner's qualities that we ourselves lack or long for. This can lead to disillusionment when our partner inevitably fails to live up to these impossible standards. Instead of seeing our partner for who they truly are, we see them through the lens of our idealized fantasies, setting them up for failure and ultimately sabotaging the relationship. True love, in contrast, is built on acceptance, not idealized projections. It's about appreciating the imperfections and complexities of both ourselves and our partners. It's about embracing the messy, unpredictable reality of human connection, rather than seeking a flawless fairy tale romance. This self-work isn't a solitary endeavor. While introspection is crucial, connecting with others who understand this process can be incredibly supportive. Support groups, therapy, and even close friendships can provide a safe space to explore the shadow self, to share experiences, and to receive validation and encouragement. Remember, integrating the shadow is not about becoming perfect or eradicating all negativity. It's about embracing the totality of our being, darkness and light, and offering that wholeness to our relationships. Only then can we experience the authentic, profound love that transcends the limitations of our projected selves. This journey of shadow integration often reveals itself in unexpected ways within our relationships. For instance, consider the individual who consistently chooses partners who are emotionally unavailable. This pattern, seemingly rooted in a desire for independence, might actually stem from a deep-seated fear of intimacy, a fear born from past trauma or a perceived vulnerability. They unconsciously recreate a familiar dynamic, one where emotional connection is minimized, thus protecting themselves from potential hurt. Recognizing this pattern requires honest self-reflection, possibly with the aid of a therapist, to unpack the origins of this fear. The healing process involves gradually confronting this fear, learning to trust again, and allowing themselves to experience the vulnerability inherent in genuine intimacy. This might involve setting healthy boundaries, practicing self-soothing techniques, and actively seeking out supportive relationships where vulnerability is met with empathy and respect. Another common shadow manifestation is the tendency towards control. This might manifest as micromanaging our partner's life, constantly checking in, or subtly, or not so subtly, dictating their choices. This behavior often masks a deep-seated insecurity, a fear of abandonment, or a lack of self-worth. The controlling individual seeks to maintain a sense of security through external control, rather than cultivating inner strength and self-reliance. The antidote here involves developing a stronger sense of self, learning to trust our partner's autonomy, and accepting that we cannot control everything. This might entail practicing mindfulness, developing healthier coping mechanisms for anxiety, and actively working on improving communication skills to foster trust and mutual respect. It's about shifting from a perspective of control to one of collaboration and mutual support. Furthermore, the shadow often reveals itself through patterns of passive aggressiveness. Instead of directly expressing needs or concerns, we might resort to subtle digs, sarcastic remarks, or silent treatments. This avoids direct confrontation, but it ultimately erodes trust and breeds resentment. This behavior often stems from a fear of conflict, a difficulty asserting our needs, or a deep-seated belief that our needs are not worthy of being heard. Breaking this cycle necessitates developing assertive communication skills, learning to express our needs directly and respectfully, and practicing healthy conflict resolution strategies. This might involve seeking professional guidance to learn healthier ways to navigate disagreements and express difficult emotions. The shadow also manifests in the area of financial intimacy. Issues around money often reflect deeper insecurities and anxieties about control, dependence, and self-worth. One partner might be overly controlling of finances, reflecting a fear of vulnerability or a lack of trust. Conversely, another might be excessively secretive or avoidant, hiding debts or spending habits, stemming from shame or a fear of judgment. Open and honest communication about financial matters is crucial. This involves discussing financial goals, values, and anxieties openly and honestly, creating a shared understanding and a sense of collaborative responsibility. Seeking financial counseling can also be beneficial, providing a neutral space to address financial anxieties and develop healthy financial habits together. Ultimately, financial intimacy is a reflection of emotional intimacy, and addressing the shadow in this realm can significantly strengthen the foundation of the relationship. It's about fostering a sense of shared vulnerability and trust, rather than allowing financial anxieties to fuel insecurity and conflict. Another significant manifestation of the shadow self in relationships is the area of emotional availability. This often presents as a reluctance to fully engage emotionally, a fear of vulnerability, or a resistance to intimacy. This might appear as emotional detachment, a consistent avoidance of deep conversations, or a difficulty expressing genuine feelings. The root cause often lies in past traumas, unmet emotional needs, or a deep-seated fear of rejection or abandonment. A partner exhibiting this shadow might unconsciously sabotage intimacy, creating distance to protect themselves from potential hurt. They might build emotional walls, prioritizing independence to an unhealthy degree, or engage in emotional suppression, minimizing their feelings to avoid perceived vulnerability. Overcoming this requires a conscious effort to confront past hurts, develop self-compassion, and cultivate a greater capacity for emotional intimacy. This involves exploring the origins of this emotional unavailability through self-reflection, journaling, or therapy. It also necessitates learning to identify and express emotions in healthy ways, practicing vulnerability with trusted individuals, and gradually expanding one's comfort zone with emotional intimacy. This might involve setting aside dedicated time for intimate conversations, sharing personal experiences, and actively listening to and validating the partner's emotions. It's a process of gradual unveiling, a journey towards emotional transparency and trust, built on a foundation of self-acceptance and mutual respect. For example, a partner struggling with emotional availability might benefit from practicing mindfulness exercises to become more attuned to their own feelings and the feelings of their partner. They might also benefit from engaging in activities that promote emotional connection, such as couples counseling or shared creative endeavors. Furthermore, the shadow often manifests in the realm of communication patterns. Beyond passive aggressiveness, the shadow can reveal itself through various unhealthy communication styles. One might resort to criticism, constantly finding fault with their partner, often stemming from unresolved personal issues or a need to feel superior. Another might engage in defensiveness, deflecting blame and avoiding responsibility for their actions. Stonewalling, characterized by withdrawing from conversation and emotional engagement, is another common manifestation. Contempt, the expression of disdain or disgust, is perhaps the most destructive communication pattern, eroding the very foundation of mutual respect and trust. Addressing these patterns requires a conscious effort to cultivate healthier communication habits. This might involve learning active listening skills, focusing on understanding the partner's perspective rather than simply preparing a response. It's about learning to express needs and concerns assertively but respectfully, avoiding accusatory language and personal attacks. Practicing empathy and understanding, seeking to see the situation from the partner's viewpoint, is crucial. Learning to identify and regulate emotions is also vital, preventing emotional outbursts and fostering a more constructive dialogue. Couples therapy can be incredibly beneficial in this area, providing a safe space to explore communication patterns, learn healthier strategies, and develop improved conflict resolution skills. The goal is to create a communication style that is open, honest, respectful, and collaborative, fostering mutual understanding and emotional connection. Regular check-ins and dedicated time for open communication are essential in nurturing this healthy dynamic. Ultimately, overcoming these shadow aspects requires a deep dive into self-awareness. Understanding the roots of one's insecurities and anxieties is paramount. Journaling can be a powerful tool in this process, allowing for introspection and the identification of recurring patterns of thought and behavior. Therapy, whether individual or couples therapy, provides a structured environment to explore these deeper issues with the guidance of a trained professional. It's a space to unpack past traumas, address unresolved conflicts, and develop healthier coping mechanisms. For instance, a partner struggling with control issues might benefit from exploring the origins of this need, perhaps stemming from a childhood experience of feeling powerless or insecure. Understanding this root cause can pave the way for developing healthier strategies for managing anxiety and building trust in the relationship. Similarly, someone struggling with commitment issues might need to confront past relationship hurts and develop a healthier sense of self-worth before being able to fully embrace intimacy and vulnerability. This often involves challenging ingrained beliefs and developing a more compassionate understanding of oneself and one's past experiences. The process is not always easy. It requires courage, patience, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. But the rewards, a deeper understanding of oneself, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of inner peace, are immeasurable. This journey of self-discovery is not a race, but a continuous process of growth and evolution. It's about embracing imperfections, learning from mistakes, and striving towards a more authentic and fulfilling life, both individually and within the context of a loving partnership. Regular self-reflection, mindfulness practices, and consistent effort are crucial for navigating this path towards healing and growth. The ultimate goal is not perfection, but progress, a continuous striving towards a healthier, more balanced, and more loving relationship with oneself and one's partner. In the end, the journey towards a healthier relationship hinges on self-awareness, consistent effort, and a commitment to personal growth. It's a continuous process of learning, adapting, and forgiving, both oneself and one's partner. The rewards, deeper intimacy, stronger connection, and a more fulfilling life, are well worth the effort.